What's up? This is the Tropical Polar Bears podcast. I'm Luke Russell.
And I'm Jack Stevenson.
Welcome to the show. Christmas edition.
Merry Christmas, all.
Merry Christmas. We hope you're all looking forward to Christmas, and despite everything that's going on in the world, I hope that everyone gets a chance to actually enjoy their Christmas. I think there's a lot of people that aren't going to see their families this Christmas. But don't worry, because you got this Christmas-themed episode from us to watch. We're going to be ranking our top 5 favourite Christmas films this week.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about you, Jack, but I actually struggled with this because originally we were going to do top 10, and I realised it's actually really difficult to think of 10 decent Christmas films. So
yeah, it was a lot harder than I thought. And I looked at like the top 20 Christmas films online, and I hadn't seen like probably about 10 of them.
Yeah, the majority of them.
And then the 10 I have seen, I was like,
wouldn't
I
necessarily
didn't
put
feel
it
like
in
it
the
was a
top 10.
strong 10.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it was a very strong 10. So
Yeah.
plus I had to like. There was a few I stretched to go in there, like Die Hard is technically a Christmas film, but at the same time, it's not really. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Like, it's set at Christmas, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I've got a few honourable mentions. I feel like we should mention those at the end, though. So not to give away what I haven't included in my list. Same with yours, because I wrote, when I was doing my top 10, I thought of 8 strong films that I was like, yeah, these will all go in my top 10, but I just couldn't think of 2 more to go in there. I'm not that big of a Christmas film person.
I've watched quite a few because my whole family's always kind of done that over Christmas. Like, it's always been on BBC or whatnot. So
yeah, but we always just watch the same films, though.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't say. I say there's a lot of rubbish Christmas films. There's more rubbish Christmas films than there are good ones.
Probably, yeah.
And that's why I felt made it quite hard.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, you watching won't be able to see this, but for Jack, what I've done is I've got on screen 1 to 5 and everything. But for the first time since in all these tier list videos we've done, I've covered them up so we can't keep seeing what the other person's next one is. So, you go first. So for your first film, so what's happened is Jack hasn't told me what order to put the films in or anything. He's just told me what 5 films are in his top 5. And the first one that I've got for Jack is Elf.
Straight to number 1, my friend.
Really?
I love Elf. I've watched it so many times, and I can still keep watching it.
Mate, Elf is a banger. Elf is a banger.
It's definitely not like the most Oscar level film. I feel like there's another film in my list that is definitely like, in terms of films, it's considered like the best film out of them all. But I think Elf is just funny. I love watching it. It's so easy to watch as well. So
it is a really good film. I actually have Elf in mine as well, but the difference is I have Elf in number 3.
3.
So our list is already quite different, and I'll tell you that Elf is the only film that we both have in our lists. That's why I did Elf first, because I was like, alright, it's the only one that we've both got in our list. So we'll start off with that one. But yeah, I'd put Elf in number 3, possibly 2. But the one that I've got lined up for 2, I'm like, oh, if you put one on, which would I rather watch? It's kind of like depends on the day. Do you know what I mean? It's the 2 of them are interchangeable for what I've got as 2 and 3. But all right, Jack. Up next, The Grinch.
The Grinch. I'm gonna put this one at number 5.
Really?
It's the one I've watched the least. It is a classic though, but like, I don't know. Like I just out of all of them, I gravitate to other ones more than this one.
It's funny because when I did my top 10, I came up with 8, and then since we decided to do 5, I thought of 2 more. So in the end, I did get a top 10, and I did have Grinch in my top 10, but I've not got it in my top 5.
Oh, you haven't?
No, it's not in my top 5. I feel like you're a bit like, what are your top 5?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Is Home Alone in there?
You gotta wait and see, mate. I've got Gremlins.
Gremlins
is in there, mate. Gremlins. I've got Gremlins as number 4, just because.
I think I had Gremlins in my top 8. I think.
Yeah, well, in the original list, yeah, but when you had to trim it down to 5, you didn't include it in. Gremlins for me, I think the nostalgia of the film. My dad always loved the film Gremlins as well, so that's one that we would probably watch quite often. I'd say I watch this at least, probably most Christmases. But the good thing about Gremlins is you don't have to watch it at Christmas time. Even though it is a Christmassy film, you can watch it at any time of the year. So, and I think that's one of the reasons it makes it into my top 5 for me. The ability to be able to watch it whenever you want is a good thing.
It's one of them Christmas films as well that isn't like just focused around Christmas. Like you're saying,
I quite like flipping the. Yeah, I quite like the fact that the whole thing isn't hunky-dory, happy laughs and giggles and everything. Do you know what I mean? The way that like Elf is. Elf, nothing bad really happens, does it? Do you know what I mean?
No, other than like a snowball to the face or something, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's so relaxed that, and that's how a Christmas film's meant to be. It's meant to be like a feel good, but that's the reason I like Gremlins, is the fact that it's got that side element to it, that other element. But alright, the third film I've got in your list is Polar Express.
This was one I was on about. Like, this is an absolute top level film, and I'll put this number 2. I'm surprised you don't have this on your list.
It's not even in my top 10.
Really?
It's not even in my top 10.
Why? I'm interested in it because I've watched this so many times, and that's why I don't put it number 1, because I've watched it enough times to kind of like not be that bothered when it's on. But it is a mad good film.
I think I've seen this film 3 or 4 times. Which isn't a lot. I don't think 3 or 4 times is a lot, considering it came out when I was like a teenager or something.
I've seen it like every year, I swear.
Yeah, see, it never really gripped me. I might not have even seen it that many times. It never really gripped me. I think it used to freak me out, the animation style, like the style of everyone's faces and everything. Like, for its time, it was really good, as in the animation of like how close they could get it to a human. Obviously, you can tell that it's animation, but and then there was that carriage scene where he has to go through the carriage with all the puppets. That freaked me out. That used to freak me out, man. Puppets, I'm not a fan. I find ventriloquism hilarious. I love it.
But let's not forget.
But there's an element of freakiness when it comes to puppets for me.
Let's not forget the hot chocolate song. Hot chocolate.
See, I don't even remember it. It's been that long since I watched it. I don't even remember. I'll watch it this Christmas. I'll watch it in the next week or so, and I'll let you know what I think about it. And then maybe if we do this list again next year, it might be in my list. We'll see. But right, my third film that I've got Home Alone. Now, I think a lot of people will probably find this a bit disrespectful, but I've got Home Alone as my 5th. Banging film, but I've not watched it recently. If I've watched it recently, there's a chance it maybe goes above Gremlins. I think that's the thing. If you've watched a film recently, then you might put it a little bit higher. But Home Alone for me, absolute classic. I don't think you could convince me that it's not a good film. Don't think you could convince me it's a bad film.
Home Alone as well, you could watch it any time of year, even though it is set at Christmas.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a theme. That's a bit of a theme with my favourite Christmassy films, are the ones that you can kind of watch any time of year.
Yeah, I imagine like that era, a lot of the Christmas films seem to be just like set at Christmas rather than revolving around it.
The thing is with Home Alone as well, I've not seen the third one, but the fourth one was actually one of my favourites. I actually really enjoyed the fourth one.
I think I've only ever seen the first one. I've only seen it like once.
Well, the first two have Macaulay Culkin, and then there's a different one in the third one, and then another different one in the fourth one. But the fourth one, for whatever reason, I think it was just on. It would be on TV quite often. I just get stuck watching it because I really enjoyed it. But I didn't want to put. I didn't want to put Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2 in here or anything like that. Like I thought, oh, Home Alone as a whole, I'll put it in. Same with Gremlins. I wasn't gonna Gremlins 1 and Gremlins 2. I didn't want to put any sequels in. I just wanted just the one film from the franchise kind of thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, like there's definitely a few films that I'm similar with where they're not considered the best ones, but because they're on TV all the time, I really like them because I've watched them that many times. Like Jurassic Park 3 is an example. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love Jurassic Park 3. But I think a lot of fans, like film fans, don't like it. But I love it.
No, they don't. Yeah.
But I love all three. I love all three of the original 3 Jurassic Park films. I love them.
3's my favourite for some weird reason. I don't know why.
Three is the one that's like my favourite to watch as a standalone film. But for the nostalgia and everything, my favourite is number 1. Do you know what I mean? Like, the way the first one gives me goosebumps, and I've watched plenty of like videos of the behind the scenes of how it was made and everything. So the first one for me is amazing, but the third one for me is my favourite one, where it's like, if you're gonna put one on, if you're like, oh, I'm gonna watch Jurassic Park, which one do you want to watch? Unless we're going to watch them all in a row. If you're like, no, you're only going to watch one, I'll be like, I'll put the third one on.
Yeah. I think another one would be Aladdin, Prince of Thieves. I was talking with my brother the other day, and we're like, weirdly, that was our favourite one.
The spin-offs? The spin-off ones?
Yeah. The third Aladdin film that is considered terrible, but it used to be on TV all the time, and I used to love it.
I used to love the Aladdins. Aladdin was one of my favourite Disney films.
Yeah.
I think we should do that soon. I think soon we should do our top 10 Disney films.
Yeah, we'll do that next. We've got a bit off topic here.
But we'll have to do it as top 10 hand animated ones. So we'll do different styles to it. But we don't want to go off topic.
Then Pixar, and then
because if you do if you do Disney as a whole, then you've got to take into consideration Marvel, Star Wars, even though you're not going to pick one of the new Star Wars films as in your top 10, but then you've got to pick those, and then you've got Lilo and Stitch, and you've got to think about Pixar, and there's way too many things that come under Disney for you to just do Disney as a whole. So you'd have to do the individual things like Pixar and everything. Alright, your next one, Nightmare Before Christmas.
This one's probably one of the better films ever made, I think. I'm surprised this one's not on your list either. This one's not really a Christmas film as well, but it is.
This one was in my top 8. It was in my top 8, but it just wasn't in my top 10. This is the film that triggers Christmas for me, because I watch it.
It's always on Halloween, isn't it?
Well, I watch it in November. I never watch it at Halloween. I always watch it in November. So it's after Halloween, but towards Christmas. So once I watch this film, then I start getting into a Christmassy mood. But so I tend to watch this at end of November.
Soon as summer's over, so September onwards, this film is valid, and for half a year. This film is just perfect, you know what I mean?
But again, though, I could watch this in February. I don't have to watch this at Christmas time. But where would you put it?
I'll put this one number 3.
Okay. I wouldn't argue with that, to be fair. Alright, my 4th one is Christmas with the Cranks. Have you ever seen this film?
I've never watched it.
Mate. this film
I've never heard of it,
is so good. Like, so many people, like, Holly had never seen it, and we watched it together last year, and she was actually she really enjoyed it. It's about this family that are huge on Christmas, and their whole neighbourhood is huge on Christmas. And one year, their daughter is studying abroad or something. I forget. It's stupid because I've seen the film so many times that I should know. But she's like studying abroad or something, so she's not going to be home for Christmas. So instead, they decide, all right, we're not doing Christmas this year. It's just two parents and the one daughter, so it's not like they've got other kids. And they decide that instead they're going to go on a cruise and they're going to go away. So they're like, we're cancelling Christmas this year. So they refuse to put up any decorations. They refuse to partake in any Christmas stuff whatsoever. They refuse to donate to any of the carolers, any of the charities, anything. They refuse it all. And their neighbourhood turns on them. And because the whole neighbourhood, they have a snowman that they put on their roof every year. It's called Frosty. And they're like, oh, when you putting your Frosty up? And then they all start bitching about them because they're like, oh, have you heard that the cranks aren't putting the Frosty up this year and everything like that? But mate, it's really good. And then all of a sudden, the daughter calls up like 2 days before Christmas and is like, oh, actually, no, I'm going to come home for Christmas. So all of a sudden, they have to change everything and they have to go like sort all of this and that, sort out a Christmas out on like last minute and everything. But yeah, man, it's really good.
I've never heard of that one. I'll have to try.
Honestly, watch it.
It's on Netflix or.
I don't think it is. I had to buy it last year because it wasn't on Netflix and it wasn't on Prime. But it is a really good film. I would definitely recommend watching it. It's number 2 for me though. I've not got it as number 1. But this is my family's as a whole. Is it as a whole?
Can I guess your number 1?
No. Don't try guessing my number 1.
Alright, because I think I know what it might be.
I'll put Christmas with the Cranks in number 2, but it's tough. But come on, what's your last one?
I don't know. You'll have to pull it out.
Oh,
Robbie the Reindeer. Yeah.
I've never heard of this film.
This is one of the weirder ones. I think it's made. I might be wrong. I think it's made by the people who make Wallace and Gromit. Now,
okay.
I've not seen this in a while, but I've watched it so many times when I was a kid, and I think we had it on like VHS, or it might have been on TV a lot, or maybe both.
Oh, it does look like Wallace and Gromit.
It's the same animation style. I think it might be the same people who make Wallace and Gromit, but I could be wrong. Ben
Stiller, Hugh Grant, and Britney Spears. Oh, I've never seen this. I'll have to watch it though because I really like Wallace and Gromit. I'm a big Wallace and Gromit fan.
Yeah, like I haven't watched it in ages, but I remember loving it as a kid, so I had to include it. So.
And that's your number 4, yeah?
Yeah, number 4.
Alright, fair enough.
I'll probably rewatch it again after this because I've forgotten how the story goes.
Yeah, I might have to watch it to be fair. I'd never heard of it. But alright, go on then, throw your guess out. You'll probably be right with what it is.
Is it Muppets Christmas Carol?
No!
It's not.
It's Die Hard, man.
Oh, you did go for Die Hard.
It's Die Hard. It's Die Hard. The thing is, I was looking at it, and so when I look at this list of films, if you say what's my favourite film out of them, it's Die Hard. And that's why at the end there I was like, is Christmas with the Cranks above Die Hard? Because I'm like, if I think of it only as favourite Christmas, if I have to put it in that bracket, then Christmas with the Cranks probably takes over. But I'm like, I am one of the people that argues Die Hard is a Christmas film. Do you know what I mean? When people are like, oh, can we put a Christmas film on? I'll be like, Die Hard! I want to put Die Hard on. And they're like, no, it's not a Christmas film. I'm like, it is a Christmas film. So for me to not be a hypocrite, I feel like I have to put Die Hard in there. And if I have to put it in there, it's going to be number 1 for me.
See, I do like Die Hard, and I do understand why people say it's a Christmas film. But I felt cheap putting that in number 1.
If it was in your list, would you have put it as number 1?
I don't know if I'd put it number one, but I mean, like, having it in my list feels a bit below the belt because it's like it's not true Christmas.
I know, you know but mean? It's like Gremlins. Gremlins is set at Christmas, but it's got, in fairness, Gremlins has got more Christmas elements, but it's not a traditional Christmas film the way that Christmas with the Cranks, Elf, or Home Alone is. But yeah, man, I had to put Die Hard in there. How can I not? How can I not put Die Hard in? I can't imagine a world where I think of my top 5 Christmas films and I'm not putting Die Hard in my list. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
But so my top 5 is Die Hard, Christmas with the Cranks, Elf, Gremlins, and Home Alone. What's yours, Jack?
Elf, Polar Bear Express.
Polar Bear Express.
Polar Express. Nightmare Before Christmas, Robbie the Reindeer, and The Grinch.
The Grinch. What about your honourable mentions? What were you in your top 8? What were the other 3?
I think I had Christmas Carol, Muppets Christmas Carol. What's the other one? The Night Before. You know that the comedy with Seth Rogen. It's a bit rubbish, but I did laugh watching it.
I've not actually seen that. So when you said The Night Before, I was like, yeah. I have no idea what that film is, but I can see the thing in my. It's got is it Anthony Mackie? Is that his name?
Yeah, it's got a few like comedians in it.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a rubbish film, but it just made me laugh because it's just like a last night out before Christmas, and they're just going mental. And mate,
I saw a lot of memes this year about how people were like, the pubs better be open for Christmas Eve. They were like, we don't care when they're open, just as long as they're open for Christmas Eve. Because so many people got a night out beforehand. So in the end, I had a top 10. But I didn't put my last 5 in order. But I have Nightmare Before Christmas, The Grinch, Miracle on 34th Street. Have you seen that?
Don't know.
That's I don't think so. Proper Christmas film. Like everything about it is Christmas.
Actually, I recognise the name.
It's Richard Attenborough, and he plays this geezer who is Santa, but he starts to work in a store in America as Santa, and some stuff happens and everything. I don't want to give too much away because I want you to watch it. It is really good. Yeah. But stuff happens and everything, and eventually they take him to court, and the court case is almost about whether or not he is the real Santa. Like,
I feel like I might have seen it, you know.
It's got the little girl from Matilda in it. I forget her name. I always forget the actress's name, but it's got her in it. So I had Miracle on 34th Street, Nightmare Before Christmas, The Grinch, Love Actually. Because that is a Christmas film.
Yeah.
Like,
I've not actually watched Love Actually.
The only reason I didn't put it in my top 5 is because I don't enjoy it more than any of these 5 films. Do you know what I mean? It is a really good film, but for me, it's not up there with these.
You didn't want to reveal yourself to say.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. And then the last one that I've got is Deck the Halls. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. I've seen Shrek the Halls, if that counts.
Well, Deck the Halls is really good. It's got Danny DeVito in it. And for whatever reason, I can't remember the reason that he's trying to do it, but he just gets obsessed with Christmas lights on his house to the point where he wants to have so many lights on his house that it's visible from the moon. And that's the whole point of this film. And at points, it turns out that he's like stealing electricity from next door. Like he snuck in with a plug socket and ran a wire underneath the snow to his house and everything. And it's all about his neighbour arguing with him. And it's like this battle going on, this rivalry between the two characters. It's really good. It's really good. But yeah, Go on, mate.
I also had Gremlins on my what do you call it? Honourable mentions. I had Home Alone as well. I also did think Toy Soldiers, but is that a Christmas film or is that not? It's always on around Christmas time.
No, it is based at Christmas, isn't it?
Is it actually based on Christmas?
It is set at Christmas,
I kept thinking that when I was doing the book. Because that is a banging film.
Oh, Small Soldiers is amazing.
That's the one. Yeah.
Small Soldiers,
If I was doing a cheating Christmases, I'm going to consider it cheating. So if I was including Die Hard, Small Soldiers, and maybe Gremlins. Gremlins is a bit more Christmassy than Die Hard, though. But
yeah, in fairness, he does get Gizmo as a Christmas gift. Like, yeah. But Die Hard is he's going there. It's Christmas Eve, like it's Christmas.
I'd probably have Small Soldiers higher than Die Hard there.
What? Nah.
That film's like, I've watched it so many times, man. I love it.
It's good, but nah.
It's like Toy Story, but more violent. I love it.
Oh, mate. I used to have Small Soldiers on video. I love that film. I think I watched it. Did I watch it this year? I think I watched it like late last year. Early this year. I watch it. I watch it once every couple of years. I do think it's good. But it's got I always forget the actress's name. Is it Kirsten Dunst? She's Mary Jane in the first Spider-Man films, isn't she? She's in it. She's in Jumanji as well. Like, yeah. But no, Small Soldiers is a really good one. Small Soldiers is a really good one, to be fair. But nah, even so, I wouldn't want to have two in my list that can be considered cheating. Die Hard's in there though. Die Hard's number one. I don't care. But mate, growing up, my mum is a huge fan of Die Hard. I remember one year for Christmas, we got her the box set of the Die Hard films. So growing up, I've always been told that Die Hard is an amazing film. And then when I eventually got to watch them, I was like, Die Hard! Like, so good. Like, I love them.
I've only seen the first one though, to be fair. Oh
my God, man. It's a crime. Watch the first four. The first four are actually really good. To me anyway.
Isn't 4 a bit hit and miss though?
Four's the one I've probably seen the most.
Oh really?
I've probably seen number 4 the most.
Kind of the Jurassic Park 3 situation where 4 considered a bit. Yeah.
Mate, so number 1 is standard. We all know number 1. Number 2 is they take over an airport. And that's part of the reason. I think I said this in a video that we've recorded with Adam. I think I said that Die Hard 2 is one of the reasons I have a fear of flying. Because
you might have actually. Yeah.
They take over the airport, and mate, it's fucking brutal, man. It's brutal. They take over the airport. Yeah. They go into mission control, and they basically reduce the plane's altitude, so it thinks it's 100 feet higher in the air than it actually is. So when it's coming down to land, because it's so dark and snowy, and they've turned the lights off on the runway, the plane just hits the ground, kind of thing, and everything. And mate, the film is brutal. But there's that one, and then number 3 has got Samuel L. Jackson in, and that one there, it's got like a bomber in it, and he's leaving them like riddles, and they have to go around the city and do all these things. And then number 4 is this group have basically hacked into everything. Like they've hacked everything, and they televise out to everyone a live TV feed of like the White House being blown up and everything, and everyone runs outside to look because it's based in Washington and it's not actually blown up and everything. And they're messing with traffic lights to make everyone crash into each other. Like they set all the traffic lights onto green, and mate, it is really good. I really enjoy the 4th one. I think it probably comes into. We should do a tier list on it, but it probably comes into the category of like guilty pleasures.
Is 4 the one where he's got a kid? Because I remember that one being advertised.
Yeah, his daughter's like a teenager.
Yeah. 3 has piqued my interest. I love Sam Jackson in anything.
Yeah, that's a really good film, to be fair, and it's probably the one that I've seen the least.
2 before.
Yeah,
Which is the best out of the 3?
Wait, what? Which one's what?
Out of the 4 even, which is the best in your opinion?
The 4th one, man.
Like,
the 4th one.
Outside of personal, like, I love the 4th one. Like,
the 4th one.
Which is considered the best one widely.
I don't care what's considered the best one. The 4th one's the best one. I actually prefer. Do I? I could argue, if I wanted to argue with myself, I could play devil's advocate and argue that the fourth one is better than the first one for me. Like, I could do that. You know how, like, you don't necessarily have to agree with an opinion to argue the case. But I think I could argue the case with myself that the fourth one is better. The fourth one's more enjoyable. It's more fun. Do you know what I mean? It's just like... But you've got to watch the unrated version. That's important. Don't watch the cinema version, because they did what they did with Venom, where they wanted to make it like a PG, so they took out blood and swearing and things like that, and it just doesn't work. But if you watch the unrated version, then yeah, it's good. Mate, he crashes a police car into a helicopter at one point, man. He goes full on, like, oh mate, I'm watching it tonight. I'm watching it tonight. I don't care.
Pretty and fairly realistic though. Like, that's what I liked.
Nah, it's realistic as fuck. Honestly, man, you could do it. After watching that film, I've been convinced that you could take down a helicopter with a car. Honestly, man, watch it. It is really good.
Right, should we wrap it up there then?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up there. I'm gonna go watch Die Hard 4. I'm gonna go watch Die Hard 4. But thank you for watching the video.
I'm gonna go watch Jurassic Park 3.
Ooh, no, don't. Mate, earlier this year I binge watched all 5 Jurassic films. So I might just have to do them again in a few weeks. But thank you for watching. Please do let us know what you thought. And let us know what you think of our list. And if you think that we missed out any films as well. Also, let us know what you think about the Die Hard thing. Do you consider Die Hard to be a Christmas film? And do you think it should be in this list for that reason? But yeah, I've got nothing else. Cheers for watching.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Oh yeah, have a Merry Christmas, obviously. Have a good Christmas.